In this video, we're going to learn about the hormonal control of sperm production. We need to know the roles of FSH and ICSH in sperm production. And we also need to know about the role of testosterone and how it is controlled via negative feedback. The testes have two main functions, sperm production and testosterone production, and this was covered in the previous key area. When FSH arrives in the testis, in the bloodstream, it promotes sperm production by the seminiferous tubules. When ICHH arrives, it promotes the interstitial cells to produce testosterone. Testosterone also has a role to play in stimulating sperm production. In addition to this, testosterone activates the seminal vesicles and the prostate glands to produce their secretions, and this was discussed in the previous key area. Testosterone is involved in a negative feedback mechanism to maintain its production at a constant level. Any increase in testosterone levels above a set point will result in a decrease in the levels of FSH and ICSH. This in turn will decrease the testosterone levels. Once the testosterone levels fall below a set point, this will have the effect of increasing the levels of FSH and ICSH. And in this manner, the levels of testosterone are kept within certain set limits and are not allowed to get too high or too low. Let's look at this in a bit more detail. So you'll see on the diagram that the green arrows represent stimulation and the red arrows represent inhibition. So if we start off up at the pituitary gland, the pituitary gland releases FSH and ICSH. FSH stimulates sperm production and ICSH stimulates testosterone production. And testosterone itself stimulates sperm production. However, testosterone has an inhibitory effect on the pituitary gland. And when the levels of testosterone get above a certain point, this will inhibit the pituitary gland and prevent the release of FSH and ICSH. Because of the reduced levels of ICSH, testosterone production from the interstitial cells will fall, and the levels of testosterone in the blood will fall. Once the levels of testosterone have fallen to a certain point, that will then remove the inhibitory effect on the pituitary gland, which will begin to release FSH and ICSH once more. So this diagram just summarises that in a slightly different way. When the concentration of testosterone builds up, it inhibits the production of FSH and ICSH from the pituitary. This will then cause a decrease in testosterone concentration, which will cause the pituitary to release more FSH and ICSH. And with this negative feedback control, the levels of testosterone are kept within set limits. They do not get too high, nor do they get too low.